There has been numerous developments at the regional and international level when it comes to strengthening the legal and policy framework of business and human rights. Currently, the European Union has a group of regulations, starting with the European Union Deforestation Regulation, the Corporate Sustainability Due Diligence Directive, the Forced Labor Regulation is also in the offing.
The Initiative for Social and Economic Rights has been monitoring economic and social rights for over a decade and found persistent rights violations relating to businesses. Uganda is one of the few countries that has a National Action Plan on Business and Human Rights, and we do commend the government of Uganda under the leadership of the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development for this progress. ISA, as the CSO representative on the multi-stakeholder committee that developed the NAP, was engaged in consultations leading up to the development of the NAP. And communities often came to us complaining that they had no recourse against powerful corporations. It is good to see that the European Union is making respect for human rights as a condition to access their market. This is a great opportunity for us to be able to implement Uganda's National Action Plan on Business and Human Rights. We see already a movement in Europe where countries like Germany and France have come up with value chain and due diligence laws, where companies now have legal obligations to identify, to prevent, mitigate, but also to remedy rights violations.
By the time we adopted this National Action Plan, even EU hadn't issued any directive. It came in later. So for me, it's a good coincidence. It's an opportunity, yes, we have to take advantage of it, but there is already a shift in terms of industry, in terms of reporting, in terms of people and the planet, balancing that, people and the planet, in terms of climate change, and if you don't do that, then disaster will strike.
The new EU legislation has reflected what we have always known, that you cannot have development without rights. Rights matter, they are not mere suggestions. We must be able to ensure that human rights are being respected at every element of the value chain. What we have sometimes seen is that when they get down along the value chain, particularly when dealing with vulnerable groups, there's a lot of rights violations. We see violations around the environment, around land, around forced displacement, around child labor.
The impact of the EU passing the European Union Deforestation Regulation has a bearing on the smallholder farmers that are growing coffee across the villages in Uganda. The market standards that the EU has set require that all coffee going to their market from Uganda has to be free from deforestation.
Tukiririza ddala era tuwagira embeera yonna tuikwatako etugamba nti tulina okuba nti emmwanyi yaffe eno tugirwanirira okusigala nga esigala katale. N'olwekyo byonna entereza yonna gye batuleetera gamba nga okwewandiisa abalimi b'emmwanyi tugikiririzaamu, amateeka g'emmwanyi agajja tugakkiririzaamu tusobole okufuna obutale kubanga bannaffe gye tuweereza be balina obutale.
Nze ng'omukyala yawerera abaana bange sandyagadde baana bato kubatwala kubakozesa mu ssamba, abaana balina okusoma nabo basobola okubeera ab'omugaso mu nsi yaabwe mu maaso. Nze mpagira ekyokuuma obutonde bw'ensi kubanga bakadde baffe singa tebaabukuuma oba oli awo naffe tetulina kye twandikoze.
I used to travel a lot to the African Commission on Human and People, so I have let out a lot of resolutions to protect people in Africa. The one that I remember very well is on extractive industries. The cases that come to courts today are mainly on the relation between the employee and the employer. Now, we have not yet even started on the oil. We are just trying to extract. So I think this is now an opportunity for us to start learning, getting these instruments to our people so that when the time comes for us to do the real work, we are going to be on top of the job.
This legislation is showing is that it's extremely important for all companies that hope to get any benefit from the EU market to actually respect human rights. It's also extremely important that our governments are ensuring these companies comply. In so many ways, this legislation is buttressing our National Action Plan on Business and Human Rights, which had already found clear gaps in this area.
These frameworks are changing the landscape of business and human rights, and they are going to shift the dynamics by setting new market standards. For example, the European Union Deforestation Regulation is discouraging any products that are laced with deforestation to access the European Union market.
It's a call on the planet, on the people and the planet to balance business interests with issues climate, with issues environment, with the people.
At ISA, we believe that rights are not incompatible with development or economic growth. We must debunk the idea that our people's lives and dignity must always be sacrificed at the altar of profit. And the EU recent legislation shows that it is possible to actually do business and respect rights, and the market will welcome that.